Hello, and welcome to this episode on the winter solstice, also called Yule. My name is Lisa, and I personally love celebrating these festivals of the wheel of the year, of which winter solstice is one, and of which winter solstice is the lowest, deepest, darkest point, because the wheel of the year represents the circle of life. So from this moment, this lowest point of winter solstice, we move upwards into the spring phase and all the way to summer solstice, which is the highest, the peak point, with usually the most amount of energy that we have. And then it moves down again, letting go and releasing all the way back to winter solstice. And today I would love to share a bit about why we even celebrate winter solstice, the meaning of winter solstice and the themes, and some rituals, my favorite rituals that I enjoy celebrating at this time of year. And as I've already shared, the winter solstice is basically the lowest point of the sun on the horizon. And so the shortest day and the longest night, meaning it brings a lot of darkness. It is this turning point between the old that can now be released and let go of, basically death, and the moment of conception where the light is reborn and there is room for something new to enter our life. And that's where we are right now. It is celebrated here in the Northern Hemisphere on December 21st, usually. The exact time varies a little from year to year, so it can be that it is celebrated, or like that the exact point is on December 22nd. And it, of course, also depends on your location and your time zone. So if you want to know the exact point, you will have to look that up on the internet. But basically, usually it's December 21st here on the Northern Hemisphere, and in the Southern Hemisphere, it's June 21st, or again, between June 20th and June 22nd, depending on your location and the exact point. And why is it even celebrated? Why do we celebrate winter solstice? Because it is this darkest moment. And this darkest moment also holds a glimmer of hope, because the sun is reborn, because from now on the days are going to become longer and longer again. And that is this: the light always brings a glimmer of hope. And it's also this turning point where we can reconnect with our own strength, with our life force, with our inner light. Because even though it sometimes seems that nothing's moving, I can't go on anymore, I don't have any strength left, there is this inner light that cannot be subdued inside of you. And this winter solstice, or the themes, it gives us hope that after a dark, dark night, there is going to be another morning. The quality of this time of year is very similar to menstruation, if you've got a menstrual cycle, or to the dark moon, if you don't have a menstrual cycle because you're pregnant, you are breastfeeding, you are post-menopause, you don't have a uterus. In those cases, it's dark moon, and it's likewise in a month the lowest point with the least amount of energy that we have. It's a time to go inwards and reconnect with our inner light. And so outside in nature, we can also see this theme of going within, because nature appears to be in hibernation. Depending on where you live, there might be snow and ice covering the landscape. The trees are bare, the leaves have all fallen, and it looks as if nature were dead, or at least heavily asleep. And yet, below the surface of the earth, so much is happening right now. The roots are deepening. The trees have drawn their life force, their juices back into the roots, so they can grow and deepen these roots and build a very strong foundation. Because only when we've got and that's the trees and us, only when there is a strong foundation can we shoot up again with renewed energy. The deeper our roots, the higher and wider and more outside we can go. And so right now, this is happening below the ground, beneath the ground. And also the leaves that have fallen and everything else that has fallen down is now being dissected and composted by microorganisms below the surface in the soil. And it's basically broken into its tiniest pieces and will become nutrients in the next spring for the trees and plants to take through their roots and be able to shoot up again and bloom and blossom. And likewise for us too, as humans, it's a time where we are very inward, where we are also very connected with who we are and what we want. And we can use this time, as nature does, to charge our battery, to rest as much as possible. I mean, I know Christmas preparations and such, but to find the little moments of time, the little pockets of time where we can actually rest and allow things to settle. And if you want to experience that in your everyday life, maybe take a walk outside and really sense the atmosphere in the air. Put up candles or anything that represents the light, wreaths and branches from evergreen plants. You often use to decorate. We bake cookies, we tell stories and myths and all of that, and just enjoy this more inward and restful time. So how can you honor this time in your day-to-day life? For example, you could build a winter altar with anything that reminds you of winter, any decoration, and to decorate your home with branches from evergreen trees and plants, because what that symbolizes is that we allow nature into our homes. Nature outside is seemingly dying, but we preserve nature in our homes. We bring the nature that is nowhere to be seen outside into our homes and allow it to be there. Also making stews or anything that's connected, that comes from the vegetables and anything we gather throughout the year, throughout the harvest time, because it contains this strength and energy of the sun. It has soaked that up before harvesting, and now it can give us the strength in our life. So paying attention to that and making broths and stew with the vegetables that we have gathered over the year. Or I mean, of course, in today's time, we probably buy them in a supermarket, but paying attention to having it as natural as possible. What are the themes of the winter solstice? Similar to this process of death and rebirth that I've talked about earlier, there is on the one hand this reflection, going within, letting go, and on the other hand, this going back out, or like reconnecting with this inner light and inviting in the new that's to come, planting the seeds of what we would like to have more of in the next year. And so the theme number one would be introspection, quietude, being still, and it's all about reflecting the old year. What worked well this year? What worked the way you had imagined or what you had wished for? What maybe didn't? And from those things, what are the lessons that you learned through your experiences of this year? Maybe you learned something about yourself. Maybe you learned something about someone else. Maybe you learned something about the world at large. What did you learn? And how would you maybe like to incorporate that into next year and implement the lessons that you've learned? And then it's also a time to be still and to be versus to do, to wait. Similar as I described with nature, where so much is happening beneath the surface of the earth. Right now, there is a lot of inner processing going on inside of us, processing, digesting, composting. And we need to trust that this is happening. We don't have to actively do anything for it. It's just happening. Because our system, our body, heart, mind, and soul system knows exactly what to compost, what to process, so that it will be our new nutrients for the new year. Granted, in today's society, it's not always easy to wait and have patience, which is the second big theme of this time, patience. And yeah, in our society where there is this strive for instant gratification, I mean, we can basically buy anything we want right now through the means of the internet. We can have anything we want right now. We can, if we want connection, we can just grab our phone, call somebody, text somebody, scroll through social media and feel connected. And there is this strive for constant dopamine kicks. And in this time, it's more about, how about I try and wait and sit and just see what happens? Because the grass doesn't grow faster when you pull at it. And what I like to compare that to is to the first trimester of a pregnancy. Because at that time, outwardly, nothing's seen. Like, you can't even see that somebody is pregnant yet. But inside, the whole body is working to create a human being. And I mean, no wonder that we can be very exhausted at that time, because our body is busy creating a human being. What a wonder is that, right? And also, a baby, you can't force the baby out. It comes when it comes. We need to be patient and have this commitment and devotion that in the end, something great will come from it. And then another theme is hope and peace, because I think I shared it at some point, but light always symbolizes hope. Now in the dark, on the darkest day of the year, the light is reborn and we can get hope. So you can ask yourself, is there hope in your life? How do you connect to your hope? Do you have faith in your future and that things are going to be all right? And if you have, how can you maintain that? If you don't, how can you, or like, are there things you can do, like staring into a candle to reconnect to your inner light and then maybe remember that you are a powerful being after all? And the last big theme is welcoming in the light. And that means both the outer light and the inner light. You can put up candles or have a fireplace or some means of fire to symbolize this light that is reborn. And also reconnecting with this inner light of, what do you care about? What do you deeply care about? Like, what are your desires? What's getting you really excited and kindling this flame of excitement in you? And I just want to say, it doesn't mean this full on, yeah, I'm excited, I'm going to do something. That's not what I mean. There can be this very quiet joy happening of, yes, that's what I want more of next year. So just reconnecting with what lights you up, basically. And if you would like to celebrate the winter solstice, I want to share with you my favorite rituals. And so, for one, it's about rooting down and grounding. And so, if you like, light a candle and then close your eyes and then focus on your breath. Take a few deep breaths. Start connecting to the body parts that are connected in connection with the ground or with the furniture, and allow your roots to sprout into the earth. And just see, maybe you sense them, maybe you see them, maybe you hear them, maybe you taste them. Whatever way you perceive them is absolutely fine. And then you just let them grow all the way down to the core, to the red core of the earth, and connect to this red energy of the earth, of Mother Earth, and allow this energy to come up through your roots and fill your body, this red energy from Mother Earth. Because the earth is here to hold you, to carry you, to nourish and nurture you, and she's always here for you. The second ritual that I would love to share with you is the Yule candle. And in the first year that you celebrate, you simply go and buy a candle, or you make one yourself. Pay attention that it's a big candle or not too small, because this candle, you will light it on the winter solstice for the first time to celebrate and symbolize this rebirth of light. And then over the next year, you can light the candle whenever you need it. You can light it, for example, for the festivals of the Wheel of the Year, or for other special occasions, or simply when you need this sliver of hope in your own life. You can just light the candle, because it brings with it a lot of positive energy for you. And so next year, or the following year, at the beginning of the Advent time, you prepare a bowl or something where you place this Yule candle in the center and 4 candles around it. And then on the first Sunday of the Advent Sundays, and I'm sorry, I didn't look up the correct word for this in English, but there are usually 4 Sundays before Christmas that are called Advent, the first Advent, second Advent in German. Anyway, so on this first Sunday of that time, you light the Yule candle and all 4 candles. And on the second Sunday, you light only 3 candles and the Yule candle in the center. And so on until the 4th Sunday, where there is only the Yule candle. And this symbolizes that at this time, the light is still dying. The days are still getting shorter. The energy is still decreasing. And I love that this is like a really great symbol of it's getting darker and darker still. And then on the night of winter solstice, you have a new Yule candle, and you use the old Yule candle to light the new one. Afterwards, you can simply burn the rest of the old Yule candle, and the new Yule candle will accompany you through the next year, again, for whatever occasion feels good for you to use it. And I really love this, the symbol of the light becoming less and less until winter solstice. And then, of course, there are the 12 holy nights, which are celebrated at this time. A beautiful ritual and tradition to close and release the old year and inviting in the new, planting seeds. And I have recorded a separate video for that, and I will link it below. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can find it. But it's just a really my favorite ritual for this time. And then you can, of course, also do rituals with people, so in a group. And for example, just come together. Maybe you bring some cookies and hot beverages. Maybe you play some music and you just focus on the being versus the doing. You are together. Maybe you do even a little reflection exercise. So each one of you could state, this is the biggest lesson I've learned this year. And what do I want to call in for next year? And then you go one after another and talk about this. And then also, as another group ritual, coming together and telling stories, reading stories, myths, legends, everything that brings out this mystical, magical that is part of this time of year. And for example, the 12 Holy Nights bring with them a whole lot of stories and myths attached to it, like the Wild Hunt, where the All-Father Odin, the father of all the gods, he comes with his horde of demons and ghosts and lost souls, and his wife Frigg or Mother Hulda. They roam the lands, and it's dangerous to go outside because you could be kidnapped by them, and then you are lost forever, and all of that. And it's really, I mean, that this is where these myths come from. If you think back of that, people lived in huts, the wind was howling outside, and for them, they imagined that there were horns being blown or horses neighing in the wind, and imagine that there was this wild hunt out and about, come through the gates to the other world that are open at this time of year. And yeah, I'm really in love with these kinds of myths and legends. These are basically lovely rituals that you can do. I have written a blog post for Winter Solstice, and I will link it below. So if you want to learn even more rituals, more interesting facts about Winter Solstice, feel free to read through that. And in case you would like to live a little more in tune with the cycles of nature and in tune with your own cycle, I do write a free soul letter every week. You can sign up for Soul Mail. I will put the link below. And Soul Mail is my weekly personal letter that I write in tune with the moon, already to bring awareness to this rhythm that we are, the cyclical rhythm that we are going through month to month. And I present some rituals. I let you know, hey, we're now having winter solstice or summer solstice or whatever other Wheel of the Year festival. I will let you know about the moon and how you can live more in tune with your own body. And if you would like to receive that, sign up for it. I would love to have you and to write to you on a regular basis, because I think it's important to remember that we are all cyclical beings. Like, all beings are cyclical. Nature is cyclical. And as much as we see outside that apparently the world thinks everything is straightforward and progression and linear, it's not the case. Nature is cyclical, and we are part of nature, so we are cyclical too. And when we get back in touch with that, we can feel much more empowered and grounded in ourselves, and moving through life with this stability of being rooted in ourselves. And for now, I wish you a beautiful day and send much love to you. Bye.